Hello everyone, this is me, Games99 aka No-Brainer, and welcome to another Star Wars Destiny video. Gordon, it's been a very long time.
Yes, it has.
What the heck, man? The year has literally incremented from 2017 to 2018 since we last came here. What happened? Why did this take us so long?
So TTS League I had just broken my leg and had to go through the hospital for a few weeks and didn't have time for this. And we just have terrible scheduling.
Yeah, thanks for covering for me. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all your fault for your bad leg. That's totally the issue, completely. So we only managed to do heroes before we had that impromptu break, but we have had the pleasure of experience this time. We have actually, practiced with the cards at this point to refine our approaches. We may have got a few things wrong that very first time round.
Yeah, I think I overrated indirect damage. It's about 0.7 at worst 0.5, but at best one is not a good approximation. 0.75 to 0.7 is a better approximation of the value of a single indirect damage.
Hmm. Meanwhile, I don't know, it's died down now. Obi-Mars is not as good as it was when this first started, but it was looking for a while there that Obi-Mars was going to be the top tier deck for a while. That was scary.
Well, it was a deck that's cool, is fast, does okay-ish damage. The problem is that it's getting about 6 value around from character dice in best case scenario, so its bad case scenarios were terrible, and even its best case scenario was worse than R2P2's average case scenario.
Right. However, the big scary thing I found about it was simply the sheer amount of removal that deck was able to pack in. There's a lot of really good events in the set, but we're not talking about those technically. Technically, we're only supposed to be talking about the villain heroes. No, that's not how that works. Villain characters in this set. I'm gonna be honest. I've been playing a lot more hero than I have villain lately.
Well, that's because hero is better than villain by a huge margin now.
All right. Do those scores reflect that? Let's see. Dark Advisor. Does the scores reflect that heroes might be better than villains in this case?
1-star card will not
Um,
see play is not a good card.
you know, let me just reveal all of the 1 stars there. I'm not certain if this is a 1 star or a 2 star for me. Especially in trilogies, I think it might be a 2 star. But this is bottom of the barrel stuff. Just it's an 8.
So
Go ahead, sorry.
So the primary value in being a 8-cost card is that you can run it in 4 wide style decks. The problem is that the only real good way of getting a card in your 4 wide style deck is Battle Droid or Jawa Scavenger.
Right.
And you could play this in trilogies Jawa Scavenger, Dark Advisor, something to like get a full rainbow Dark Advisor deck. But other than that, I don't like this guy.
Yeah, I mean, his sides are. He's got a 2 indirect, which I guess isn't awful. He's got a focus, which I guess isn't awful. But, like, we're having to compare this guy to a battle droid, and he seems unfavorable in that instance on its own. And he's just completely and utterly outclassed by this next card, isn't he? Well, actually, no, it's Maul next. But he's just completely outclassed in all situations by so many other cards that just exist and will always exist.
In trilogies, this is a 2-star card, obviously, because there's some potential for a 4 wide deck in trilogies that runs 3 8-cost characters. But I think the more likely trilogies going to run Mother Talzin, 1 die, along with
Hmm.
1 die Battle Droid, 1 die, and 1 die Greedo, and a different 1 die character than this Dark.
Yeah, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that he provides access to blue, I would be tempted just to run a Jawa Scavenger over this guy in a lot of decks. I'd rather take the range damage, I think.
Fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Heroes had some pretty good, well, okay generics. This guy is the equivalent of the Jedi Guard in that sense, but a Jedi Guard has melee damage and Guardian. This guy, like, what does his special even do? It, it's okay. It's a draw two cards, but that's a character dice you're using, and like in standard you could see maybe like drawing into a well connected or something, but in trilogies it's just ugh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm rambling. Let's move on. Let's move on to Maul here.
Maul, Vengeful One. 2 stars. This is an interesting character. He has one decent character to pair with. You have to play him at Elite, and you have to play, therefore, either 2 7-cost characters or 1 14. There's precisely one good melee 14-cost character, and that is 7th Sister. So the Maul 7th Sister deck, you have Dark Presence is one of your better cards because you have discard sides on both Battle Droid and on Maul. Droid and Maul. Maul is pretty powerful, like damage-wise, but he just doesn't compare to good characters. Yes, he has he is good against removal, but not actually that good against removal. His character dice don't actually line up well against good character dice. And his ability is much worse than comparable abilities from comparable characters. As an example, Kylo 2, Anakin Skywalker, is another mono blue deck with a similar amount of health, but Kylo 2 has a way better activated ability. Now, admittedly, 7th Sister has almost a similar quality activated ability to Kylo 2, but still, like, the power level discrepancies is just absurd.
You don't think that there might be a way to use Maul with like a 4 speed and stuff like that, and then if they remove the 4 speed, they get screwed? Like that.
Why would I remove the 4 speed?
That's all I see. That's the only thing I can see for this guy is like if you're like if you're running both like Sith holocrons and 4 speeds or something, and then they feel forced to remove the Sith holocron die, and then that gets removed. It's just the thing is though, your opponent always has the choice, right? They always have the option to not play their removal card. Things like that are just always iffy to remove in the first place. Yeah, if Maul gets into a situation where he's on his own, it's going to be great having all of that defense. But otherwise, it's pretty terrible. And also, if you claim the battlefield so that you have the ability to roll out first, and you roll out first, they can remove you without having to trigger Maul's ability. So you're actively punished for going faster than your opponent in a sense, and yet Maul does not work in a slow deck.
In the first place. Yeah.
Exactly.
Maul's bad. 2
Yeah.
stars.
However, in trilogies, I think this guy could have some legs because we just don't have that many cards, and removal is going to be pretty powerful already with this set. So in trilogies, having someone who can really hurt your opponent if they start playing removal might make this guy up to maybe a 3-star.
No, he's a 1-star in trilogies. He's even worse in trilogies.
Wow, really?
Who is a god in trilogies. Then you look at every combination that sums to 14. And if you do the math, fuck balls, so you don't want a single one of those. Sorry, that's a bad word. And then other ways to get to 14 are all terrible.
Okay.
And so the only like okay-ish way would be Mother Talzin with Taking Ground, and that's terrible. You'd rather play Kylo 2. He's bad in trilogies. He's even worse in trilogies because the comparison to Kylo 2 is both better. And now for the best character in the set, and the reason why this set is one of the 3 reasons why this set is extremely broken, Mother Talzin. 5-star card in trilogies, standard, and unlimited. Whenever unlimited becomes good. The problem that you need to realize is that you actually aren't paying for her ability. If you look at Sienna Ree's Die, which is a character, mind you, that sees play in decks that don't have vehicles. This character's Die she only costs 1 point less. Is the best character in the game if you have at least 13 odd-numbered cards in your deck. That's not a very high bar to reach.
Yeah, I don't genuinely think there's that much more to be said about it. She's just good without the ability, and then the ability is just very strong for what it does. I wouldn't say it's a broken ability, far from it, but she is very good for what she does. Now, I will say that in trilogies, it might be a bit harder to make a deck with enough odd cards in it. But
no,
it's...
you can play Kallus, and you can play only about 24. You don't need to play 30 odds. You only need about 20.
Yeah.
You don't need that many. She's just that good.
She really is, and she's a very fine addition to the 5-die villain lineup. Although, to be fair, she's a 5-star card, but so is Nightsister.
So is who?
So is Nightsister. Nightsister is loved very much by Honestly Sarcastic, one of the best Destiny players out there that makes YouTube content, and he swears by the Nightsister. It's still kind of tough to fit those boots simply because villains just have so many options.
I think Nightsister's okay. You do the math on how good Nightsister's ability is triggering, and you get about 0.3 value every time you use her ability in good case scenarios. And that's, about it. And what the real reason Nightsister is good is because it lets you convert damage on one of your... She basically is both a guardian character and simultaneously a damage guardian. Right, she's both offensive and defensive guardian on one character.
Right. And unless you're playing, if you're playing Mother Talzin and Balatik, which you're going to be playing them both, then your only real option there is the Stormtrooper, and Stormtrooper's not terrible. Not by any means. He's not terrible at all. But, would Sienna Ree plus the Nightsister Bala just be better than the Talzin Bala Stormtrooper? It's not easy to answer that, I don't think. They're both really, really strong decks.
I'd have a question. Would you rather have the ability to ping one of your Nightsisters or one free focus every other turn?
I mean, that is fair. That is fair. Yeah.
I think I'd rather have the one free focus.
It depends. I feel like it's a bit of a medical in some situations. Like, Nightsister just ruins focus-heavy decks, and we are seeing a lot of focus-heavy decks right now. The ability to just stop chance cubes from ever being a thing if you're a Nightsister. Well, it's a 1 in 6, I guess, but that's a pretty good ability all on its own. But no, no matter how much I try to say Mother Talzin is not as good as Nightsister, you can't deny that Mother Talzin is incredibly, incredibly strong, and she basically creates an entire new archetype as well. So when you're playing archetypes, the Star Wars Destiny does not really have archetypes yet in comparison to games like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering, but this card clearly is meant to be an archetypal type of card. And when you're making an archetypal card, you want the first couple to be very, very strong so people play the archetype, and I think this is a very clear example of it.
Yeah, but I think the rest of the archetype is actually bad, other than spell removal and witch magic. And even those two cards don't really form like a good mini archetype of play a bunch of 1-cost and 3-cost cards. This card is that she's just good, and then you also sometimes play more odds, and then you play a few more odds than your average.
Right, yeah. I mean, you do lose access to cards like, well, you don't lose access to, but I've seen a lot of people really want to go the full 30 with Mother Talzin. I think that's a mistake to go for the full 30 because cards like Doubt are just that good value-wise. Doubt, Hidden Motive, that sort of stuff, but it's scary.
On to way less powerful characters. Palpatine, Darth Sidious, 1 star. So the EV of this guy on my character efficiency rating sheet is 7.112, which means he's worse than Qui-Gon Jinn, which is pretty sad. So if you value his power action at 5 resources, which is about right for his power action.
Over the course of a game?
No, per time you use it.
Okay. Wait, you
So like
5 resources
you'll
per time you use it?
1.1.5.
Oh, 1.5. Okay.
Yeah. Per time you use it, which is about fair.
Mhm.
You still don't get enough. So the thing about this guy that's problematic is that first he doesn't have like a 3 side, so he isn't really good with focus.
Right.
Good resource sides, resolving resources is kind of iffy. Best partner is Gamoran Guard, because that lets you defend the Palpatine in sort of a Vader Royal Guard thing. But all this fundamentally has a huge weakness, which is that Big Small has been bad for a long time recently, and it's not going to go away probably.
Could you explain, sorry?
When you look at your typical deck,
Mhm.
most decks actually have characters whose hit points divided by cost or hit points divided by how much damage they do that are relatively similar to each other. Like the Rainbow number 5 deck uses Nightsister as a way of cheating on this system by having Nightsister ping herself to get herself down to the lower values. P2, perfectly even. Qui-Gon Kanan is actually also very close to even.
Mhm.
The Trooper Bala Sienna deck, also very even. The Hero 4-wide decks, Ezra, Rookie Pilot, Hired Gun, also very evenly distributed.
And then
So,
Palpatine Darth Sidious is not. 20 cost, 12 hit points. But we have seen characters that are that cost before. Darth Vader, for example, is still a very effective character, even today.
no, he isn't. He has not seen a single competitive Empire War tournament, ever. He has not made top cut at any of them. And there's a good reason for that. He is bad.
Alright, if you say so. Darth Vader himself is pretty bad, I'll grant you, but there is a lot of good synergy with him and a lot of event cards like Force Strike and such. But of course, we're not seeing any of that with Palpatine. Is there any synergy at all Palpatine can get out of anything?
He has really good synergy with block, dodge, defend, and dive.
Yeah, because people play
He
those
has really good
cards.
synergy with I Am Your Father and Abandon All Hope.
Yeah, I guess Abandon All Hope is like the only good card in that set. Problem is, you're gonna be rolling him out. You might be able to get 2 off of that power action. 2 is fine, but then what are you gonna spend it on? The Abandon All Hope is good, but
Rise Again also is a very good one.
Rise Again is fair. That is a very fair point. But he just doesn't do what he doesn't win games. Like the villain lineup, events don't win. Events don't win games. They just extend the length of a game. And he can get very easily out out economies because events don't tend to provide their worth over a longer period of time. An event that's 1 cost remove 2 die sounds very good, but then it's not nearly as good as an upgrade that can just keep giving you again and again and again and again every single turn. If this was Power Action 2, just play a card from your hand decreasing its cost, I think this guy would be a lot better. You'd actually perhaps see some play even at a higher level. But he isn't.
Yeah, he's decent-ish in trilogies, except that there's no good partner for him. He might see some play.
I don't know. I think what? Wait, let me just think. Partners for him. Partners for him. You've got a veteran Stormtrooper. Mm, I mean, you could.
Veteran Stormtrooper is actually a pretty good partner.
Yeah, you could try.
But I think the Mother Talzin Kallus deck is a better way of doing that anyway.
Yeah. I mean, well, Mother Talzin is always one die. Mother Talzin's always an option, I guess. But she doesn't really have any synergy with him. She's just there. The thing is, if you're going to any partner he would have in trilogies is going to be um, under 12. It's going to be under 20 health for what you get. And there is a faction that can do that fairly effectively, and that faction is Hero Yellow because of Second Chance. But you don't see Jin for a very good reason, and this guy is basically just a better Jin. Alright, who do we have next? We are moving on to the red sections, and our first choice is a lot of people really love them. They are the battle droids. The most expensive rares we've got right now, right?
Roger. So, the name of this, I'm going to complain about this. It should be B1 Battle Droid, not Battle Droid. There are the B2 Battle Droids, which are the Super Battle Droids, which could have been 8 or 9 cost characters as well.
Hey, Super Battle Droids, they are going to be 15 cost characters. They're going to be amazing, man. Those things mess you up on Star Wars Battlefront.
Okay, yes, they did take out Jedi Masters, but...
Exactly.
70 characters.
But getting away from the canon a bit, how has the CCG treated them here? We have a 1 ranged, a 1 indirect, and a +2 indirect, which seems really terrible, but for 6 cost, you can get 5 of these out, a 5-die team. How effective is a 5-die team?
Very good, as evidenced by the Rainbow number 5 deck. However, not as good as you might think. Some oddities with power level of dice going down, meaning that you have to reroll more often.
Mm-hmm.
You can play 1, 2, or 3, or 5 battle droids. I'm going to ignore the 5 battle droid case because that's a weird special case deck. One droid case. In the 1 droid case, you're playing, say, 1 droid, a veteran stormtrooper, and another
battle droid. In the 1 droid case, you're still playing another battle droid.
the two droid. That's a 2 droid case. A 1 droid case might be you're playing 3 8-cost characters, or a Greedo, a Talzin character, and a droid. And that's an okay deck. The big thing about this is that you need indirect damage size because the +2 indirect on a character dice is, you know the math on this. Character dice are orders of magnitude more important than non-character dice.
Mm-hmm.
Twice, you'll roll over the course of a game more character dice than you do all your upgrade dice combined. So it's really important to look at modified sides on character dice and make sure that you can actually resolve the modifiers.
Exactly. So if you're playing battle droids, you're not playing them unless you've got 2 or 3 or 5 of them. I don't think there's a 4 case, honestly, for battle droids. So, but you say that you're going to ignore it as a special case, but come on, man, you can't ignore the 5-die battle droid deck, because I think that's the only thing they're actually good for.
Maybe. So the 5 battle droid deck is fun, but I have a lot of trouble playing with it because battle droids have no resource sides.
Mm-hmm.
Other 4-wide decks are actually better at tanking than you are.
Mm-hmm.
An example is one of the decks I've played when I was playing against a 5-die battle droid deck was I was playing Trooper Ball of Sienna.
Mm-hmm.
Tanked his damage and just crushed him. Merciless. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
It is noteworthy that Attrition and Aftermath are cards that you can play in that deck, and Aftermath is stupidly broken. Stupid. And you can get really weird shenanigans where you get Separatist landing craft, and you landing craft another battle droid into play.
Yeah.
And then you get...
With endless ranks and all that stuff, it is a much better deck than... I think it's genuinely a good tier, maybe even tier 2 deck, probably just tier 3 deck, but it's a genuinely effective deck and you can make a lot of money off of it. So for that reason, I'm actually going to say that battle droids might be as good as a 3-star in standard, and I would only put them a 2-star in trilogies.
I'm going to be the opposite, a 2-star in standard and a 3-star in trilogies. They're really good in trilogies as a way of getting 4-wide. 4-wide is really good in trilogies because there's flank, there's outnumber, there's really bad damage, and there's a lot of good vehicles. So a vehicle-based 4-wide deck is amazing in trilogies.
And you think that the battle droids are going to be able to provide that without any resource sites?
We need one to make a 4-wide deck in trilogies, you need one character that costs you need 2 characters that cost 7 or less.
Mm-hmm.
You only have 3 options. Greedo, who you cannot play 2 Greedo, otherwise I would suggest playing 2 Greedo. Scavenger. I like Battle Droid more than Jawa Scavenger.
Sure, I mean, the thing is, you can have a 4-wide 5-die combo. Like, that's the one saving grace I think battle droids have, is that they do work well with Mother Talzin. You can have 3 droids, 1 Mother Talzin. And yes, the Mother Talzin is going to get absolutely wrecked, but hopefully by that point you've managed to get quite a few battle droids up. And that is 5-die. That does have the potential to be okay for vehicles, I guess. But then again, no, you could... Yeah, no, what am I talking about? You don't have access to Pirate Speeder Tank, then.
Yeah, I'd much rather have a full 4-wide deck where every character has more, or every character costs either less than or equal to the amount of health they have, which is a really important rule of 4-wide. You get so much more health than everybody else that you just are impossible to kill.
Well, that's what you can wish for, and you're right. I don't think that happens at all, especially with Indirect coming out. Like, 4-wide tends to not have ways to heal themselves. They don't get shields very often. So I don't think 4-wide is going to make the cut in trilogies. But you can be free to have faith. We have the agent.
Kallus, Agent of the Empire.
The Agent
4
of
stars
the Empire.
in trilogies, 2 stars in standard. I was going to see playing is the Mother Talzin Kallus deck.
Did you say 2-star in standard?
Yes, he doesn't actually do that much damage. His die is a 2-value side, a 2-value side, a 1-value side, a 1-value side, a 1-value side, and a blank. So his die is kind of about the same quality as a Han Solo die, but his die has a special. So his power action lets you turn one of your 1-value sides into a 2-value side. That's pretty nice. But even in spite of that, he doesn't have incredible potential. He's just okay.
Yeah, I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize when they play Kallus and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing." Look at Bosk. Bosk did not see much play in Empire at War, and his dice is basically as good as Kallus, but he costs 3 less.
Yeah, you're paying a lot for that ability.
And it's an ability that if it just gets mitigated, then, well, there we go. But I'm very surprised to see you put this as 2-star in standard, 4-star in trilogy, when Imperial HQ does not exist in trilogies. And I figure Imperial HQ is kind of very important for a Kallus.
So in trilogies, the thing I'm thinking is that you play Mother Talzin Kallus, and Mother Talzin is so good that Kallus is the only decent partner for Mother Talzin, and there's like no 5-die shenanigans you can really pull in trilogies. You don't have like First Order Stormtrooper, otherwise you would. Kallus is at least a decent-ish character. Powerful upside. And there's the blue and red cards in trilogies are much better than the yellow cards because the 2-player game, blue and red cards, and there aren't a lot of good yellow cards.
Well, the Boba Fett set, at least, is yellow and red, but yes, I see your point.
So because of the 2-player game, there's more powerful blue and red cards than there are yellow cards. And so a blue-red deck is innately more powerful than a yellow deck.
Yeah. Well,
So you have to have some pretty good reason to be yellow.
this is specifically for villains though, because yeah, I think heroes got so many good yellow cards, but I honestly thought this was going to be
A
the
lot
other
of
way
good yellow
around.
cards.
I thought this was going to be the other way around. I have my Kallus here a 4-star in standard and a 3-star at trilogies. Um, there's been some good testing with Kallus. I've heard from a lot of other people with a Kallus Talzin deck that has been working very effectively in standard using cards like the Imperial HQ and all that sort of stuff to just make a very strong early push into an early stab at a character to just kill them. Very similar to how my Bosk Phasma played back in Empire at War. And it seems to be working very effectively. Deceptical, the ex Knight of Ren guy, talked about how he's is testing incredibly effectively. But I don't see trilogies Kallus actually working out all that great. But I feel like maybe right now Kallus might be good for trilogies, but as soon as the next set comes out, you know there's going to be something better for Talzin than Kallus. Come on, surely.
Yeah, but you said the Mother Talzin Kallus deck was good in standard. That's
Yes.
how. It's in trilogies. Trilogies is a much weaker format.
Yes, including Talus. I think all of the good red cards are in standard.
So Kallus's bow rifle is decent in trilogies.
That's fair.
Even if it's not in the standard build, it's good in trilogies.
That is a really good card.
We also have Mobilize in trilogies. We have a bunch of random good cards. And Hidden Motive is in trilogies. Doubt is in trilogies. This guy is good in the Mother Talzin's. He is the best character for Mother Talzin in, and so he'll see play in the Mother Talzin Kallus deck in trilogies because that deck is decent enough to make it in standard, and trilogies is a much weaker format. So
I don't know. I feel like trilogies is in fact a much weaker format. So the decks that aren't so weak are going to be very, very. They're just going to walk all over them. I don't see Kallus beating a Yoda Wedge trilogies, for example. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
I've
seen Yoda Wedge, but I'll see when I get that.
You haven't seen Yoda Wedge? Oh.
No.
I think it might be the tier 1
playing,
deck.
Anakin Kylo. I played against Saw Yoda.
Oh no, Saw Yoda's terrible. Don't worry about that. Saw Yoda is bad, and anyone who thinks he's good, no, he's bad because Saw Yoda never really runs enough removal. Maybe a fully optimized list would be good, but Saw Yoda in Yoda Wedge in standard, I think might be the tier 1 deck to beat. Either that or it's a very high tier 2. It feels a lot like Vader Raider back in the old days where you just do a lot of damage that people just can't deal with. I need to play that against you, man. I need to show you the power of a Yoda Wedge. But we're still talking about villain. This is still supposed to be about villain. I'm sorry, guys. Heroes was so much more interesting in Legacies right now.
Right. This card is a 1-star card in trilogies because it turns out you can't make a mill deck in trilogies, and a 3-star card in standard because there is a decent chance that a mill deck with Nute Gunray is going to be good.
I don't know, man. I don't even know how to value this guy. Like, that effect is just so weird to me. Like, I don't even think he's good as a mill character. He doesn't have a discard side. Discarding the top of a deck is never really that good. But I mean, Scrap Heap exists, I guess. It's an engine of some kind. Well, no, actually, the opponent is discarding the top cards of their deck. You're not making them do that. Okay, so Nute Gunray. There's only one time I've seen him used that I thought it was viable. Sir Christopher from Double Binds Gaming has a brew going on, which is Vader Nute Gunray. And that is genuinely terrifying simply because leadership exists and he takes the spot that Phasma took in Vader Phasma. And he's got the ability to discard the cards from your opponent's deck, so Mill is actually a viable option.
Okay. Mill in villain has no problem discarding the hand. There is one card that is easily just crushes the hand, and it's called Lying in Wait. About discarding the hand. You just need resources and defense. Because you just buy out Lying in Wait and you win. I'm not too concerned about that.
Fair, but I don't agree. I think that having discard size, I think, is very important, even in a villain mill deck, simply to deny your opponent options during the rest of the game. Surely that lying in wait turn will finish them off, but for a lot of the rest of the game, you want to keep discarding them to stop them being able to re-roll their dice.
Yes, but resources and disrupt are also very useful. And he has that. And he has focus, so he can focus your Jabba into the 2 discard side. So he has in de facto discard.
Right, but in standard, I think I would rather just play Jabba double Guavian than I would play Nute Gunray Jabba Guavian.
Oh, you actually played double Guavian?
I played double Guavian Jabba, yeah. I'm not sure if I put any of those videos on my channel though. The problem was it was getting close to Legacies. Well, I don't really remember, but it worked. It just didn't work good enough. It used to be that I would do that lying in wait turn, and then my opponent would still be able to roll out and kill me. It was just barely not there. I don't think Nute Gunray adds anything to that at all.
Interesting. I liked it in the Jabba and double Nightsister deck, replacing one of the Nightsisters with a Nute Gunray. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, I have him at a 2-star in standard or 1-star in trilogies. The Vader Nute Gunray, who knows, that might be a thing. Because it was terrifying. It might be a thing. But at that point, he is just a body for leadership. That's all that he is. But Vader's always...
Will he make the cut in 7th Sister OTK then?
That's a good point. 7th Sister uses Tarkin though. Speaking of which, we're gonna be talking about Tarkin now. Perfect segue. A lot of hype has been up about Tarkin lately. Tarkin 7th Sister OTK is legitimate, it is valid, and it is powerful, and that is a very effective power action to when you have a lot of dice.
So, I'm down on this guy forever, and I'm still down on him. He's an indirect damage character in a deck that mixes direct and indirect damage, which is pretty iffy. He does have some pretty interesting potential with crap dice, so dice that have only resource sides and resource sides and blanks, like Chance Cube, Datapad, and Sith Holocron. You can sort of like throw these dice on Tarkin, and then Tarkin will just like... The manipulate anger thing is very real with this guy. He's very good with anger. And he makes a very good anger deck. The problem this guy runs into is that you need a ton of dice to make this guy work. He has both focus size and cannibalizes your dice with his ability. So he has a ton of things that he has to do right in order to get any effect. He's okay. I give him a 3 stars because I don't see this guy making top cut at Worlds, which is, in my opinion, like, you cannot be 4 stars unless you make top 8 at Worlds. Me, I'll put, and if anybody in the YouTube comments disagrees with me, $50 at 1-to-1 odds. Tarkin makes top 8 at Worlds.
That is quite the bet there. But the thing is, if I wanted to give my honest opinion on what's going to happen at Worlds, a lot of what we've already declared as 4-star are going to have to be shifted massively down, because I think we're going to see maybe 2-3 decks at most that make top 8 at Worlds. Unless I go, then we might see a 4th.
I mean, I think I have a lot of 1-star cards. Like, a lot of 1-stars.
That's fair, but I do honestly think this guy's 4-star. I think the 7th Sister OTK is just too real with this guy. It is
So the OTK deck is the one with leadership and boundless ambition. That's not the Tarkin build.
is it?
Tarkin build
Okay.
does other things.
Okay.
The
So
OTK deck is Guavian or Sienna Balatique.
right. Yeah. Sorry, I get getting my terminology mixed up. But Tarkin Nightsister, Tarkin Seventh Sister is Seventh Sister is actually a very scary deck.
Yeah, and that's mostly because of Seventh Sister.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's mostly because of Seventh Sister. But hey, she's got a good support character. This is a really good support character for her.
Yeah, it's also hard for him to get like. You can get with ID9 Droid. Disrupt is actually pretty nice to hit on ID9 Droid.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hit like a Disrupt on ID9 Droid and Disrupt on your Seventh Sister, and then power action them away. A one focus, so you can remove a one focus and a one focus for 4 indirect.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of random ways to get 4 indirect. Is my point.
Yeah, you're basically never not using his power action in a proper deck. And indirect does definitely add up over time, especially when it's indirect you can't really mitigate.
He's solid. The problem he runs into is format is going to be. I'd like to note that if cards get balanced in between now and Worlds, I would like to rescind all bets.
Too late now, man. Everyone's heard you. They're all in the comments. They're all writing out that they will take you up on that bet. But what about in trilogies? I have a much harder time valuing him in trilogies.
I kind of think he's okay in trilogies, because again, trilogies is weaker, but there isn't actually a good 14 or 13 point elite character to pair with him, and there isn't a way to make him say one die him with like 3 battle droids doesn't work very well, as I learned, because they just target Tarkin.
Yeah.
You also can't actually legally make that deck. That
Okay.
He doesn't work with like 2 battle droids either. That doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
He also can't be run in like non-mon. There isn't like a good non-red character to pair him with, so I don't like him in trilogies. He's actually a 2-star card to me.
Interesting. So you don't consider any of the 13 or 14 cost characters from Rivals to be able to work with him?
So Ketsu Anonyo
Mhm.
is your best bet, because you can move weapons from Tarkin back to Ketsu Anonyo. So Anonyo doesn't work. Anakin is better with Kylo. Lobot is better with Kylo. And Ketsu is better with nobody. Ketsu is better being smothered into your draft bin or being lit on fire if you don't draft.
That's fair. I mean, I didn't have him valued at anything better either in trilogies. It's always hurts to value a double focus this low, but I'm gonna have to again. Double focus is beautiful, it always is, but if you're gonna have a double focus character, you genuinely want him to be the weaker of the two characters. And that's true when it's Tarkin Seventh Sister. Tarkin has more points, but Seventh Sister is the more powerful character. But in trilogies, we don't have that.
Veteran Stormtrooper. I give this guy 1 star in both formats. He's not good. 9 is not a lot. 9 is a lot of points, and you don't get a lot of value for your 9.
You just give him a 1 star, in both formats?
Yep.
Ooh, okay. That 3 indirect is genuinely intriguing to me in the fact that you've got lock and load as a thing. I think the veteran Stormtrooper is actually better than the elite Stormtroopers. Is that what they're called?
First Order Stormtrooper?
No, not the First Order Stormtrooper.
Krennic's. The Clone Troopers.
Krennic's Troopers.
Death Trooper.
Yes, I think they're genuinely better than Death Troopers, but that is not a high bar to set.
So, my problem with this guy is he's a 3 of his sides are exactly identical to Mother Talzin.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, 4 to count the blank.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have an activated ability. And Mother Talzin has an incredible activated ability. So, like...
Right, but come on, you're comparing uniques with non-uniques here. Come on. You could do 2 Stormtroopers and a Mother Talzin.
Or I could just throw... I can also... Yeah, you have to compare uniques to non-uniques.
Oh, yeah. But think about it like this. 2 veteran Stormtroopers might be better than a Kallus. Huh?
I like Kallus more.
Hmm? I know
I
you
like
like
having
him more, but I would not value these guys at 1 star. I would have valued it as a 2 star, maybe even a 3, but probably just 2. I value these guys at 2, honestly. I think that the lock and load combo is genuinely something that can work. Indirect damage, I think, is going to be quite effective in trilogies.
I didn't like it in trilogies. I found the 4 wide decks to be too oppressive for the indirect damage decks to work.
Okay, well, either way, at 2 star, yeah, no, these guys basically aren't getting played. The big problem here is that the first order Stormtrooper is just a lot better than the veteran Stormtrooper. 7 for 7 versus a 9 for 9. The 7 for 7 is going to win, especially when they share almost all the same sides.
Yep. Now to Bib Fortuna.
Yes.
Major Dorma.
Yes,
1
we
star.
move on to yellows. I'm sorry, what was that star?
1 star in both formats.
Well, 1 star yet again. You might be surprised by this one, but I actually agree with you.
Good. You remember how to give things 1 star, because you need to give over half the characters in the set 1 star. And realistically speaking, 2/3.
Nah. 1 star is reserved for the hellish hellhole that Fortuna deserves to rest in. This guy loses you so much tempo even if he works. Like, you first have to roll another character. You basically have to roll a character die in, resolve it, and then resolve a Fortuna die so that you can roll the character die back in. The only way this is working is if that character die specifically has a bunch of specials on it, in order for you to not lose out on tempo. And then the rest of his sides are basically worthless. That 1 focus, 1 disrupt, 1 resource, you can find that in Talzin's just very, very easily. You can find that in Baltics, you can find that in Sienna Rays. Those sides are not good. Like, if he had 3 specials and no blank, maybe I could see this being a 2-star character. When he works, he's still not very good, and he does not work most of the time.
Agreed. Boba Fett. 4 stars in standard, 4 stars in trilogies. Same character pairing in both set formats. Captain Phasma.
You prefer the Phasma power-up, do you?
Combo with 7th Sister in standard. I didn't like 7th Sister standard one. I actually liked 7th Tarkin more.
That's fair, I guess. I'm gonna be honest, I rate this guy a lot lower than you. Well, okay, I rate him as 3s. It's not a lot lower, but I do rate him lower than you. He has some good stuff working for him, but I feel like there's 12-16, there's just better cards than him at pretty much everything, and yellow was not good for villains this set.
Yellow gets hasty exit, quick draw, has already bait and switch and fast hands.
Everyone gets quick draw. Quick draw is great.
So yeah, but it doesn't matter. Everyone else gets hasty exit and entangle, but I kind of just count neutral cards as being both yellow villain and yellow hero.
Right, but I'm saying specifically quick draw is a gray card.
Oh, that's a gray card.
Yes, quick draw is gray. No, are you thinking about the fast hands quick draw combo? Because I don't understand that combo as being a thing.
No, I'm talking about the holdout blaster quick draw combo.
Yeah, no, that's gray. Those are both gray cards. You can do that with anyone.
Right. So Hidden Blaster.
Yeah.
All right.
No. Look, my issue with the Boba Fett Captain Phasma combo is simply the fact that Phasma does not have a 3-side for him to use his special on. That's not.
Oh,
It's still not
this guy
terrible
is not.
things, but
Okay, 4 stars is probably pushing it. It's actually 3.6 stars according to my estimation, but I rounded up to 4. It's probably more like 3. But in trilogies, this guy's a 4-star card because he's just incredibly over the curve. I really like the extreme action cheating build of this deck, where you just go all in on every card that cheats on actions and dug-ins and hasty exits, and you just full blitz and kill characters and try to luck your opponent down.
okay. I mean, yes, it's true that his special is only one of his sides. But I don't know. Why do you really think this guy's is undercosted for what he gets? I mean, I look at that and I see
think he's
222.
a 15-point character that costs 16.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's fair. And yeah, I don't see him as
So he might
better
actually be
stuff.
better than Poe 2. But in terms of like raw value for stats, ignoring the point cost, he's probably better than Poe 2. And Poe 2 is incredible. But he obviously costs 16. So he's weaker in that sense.
Your maths is so wrong there. I'm better than Poe 2. No. If he was a 15 cost card, he still would not be better than Poe 2. I am sorry, sir, but Poe 2 has a double focus side. This Boba Fett wishes he had a double focus side.
Emperor's Throne Room is a focus side.
Emperor's Throne Room can give him a special, sure, but I mean, that.
Emperor's Throne Room can give Phasma a special.
Sure, but Emperor's Throne Room doesn't exist in trilogies.
Yeah, in trilogies, you just rely on the fact that trilogy sucks. Trilogies cards are weaker, so you don't necessarily need to be as powerful.
I don't know, man. I cannot. His mixed sides. He has 3 mixed sides effectively. I cannot get behind the hype there. I have seen him. I have played him with Aphra, which actually somewhat worked, which was kind of weird. I did not expect that to actually work, but even so, this guy is. I don't see him being anything more than average.
All right, fair enough.
I wish I could articulate why.
Dr. Aphra, Artifact Hunter, 1 star, does not actually work. There aren't enough droids to make this character actually do anything. And dealing indirect damage to yourself only happens with a very small number of cards. She does not combo enough, and her dice sucks.
I actually value that double shield side as something worthwhile, but sure. That she has a 2 for one side and a 2 indirect side, those are both just terrible sides. I too don't think right now she has any effect in standard, but her one saving grace is the fact that she has 1 hit point over Ketsu for holding a Viro Cutlass, and that is pushing it. Ketsu is
Cool,
based.
she can hold a Vibro Cutlass. Ketsu and Onyo cannot hold a Vibro Cutlass either.
Exactly, like they are both. Ketsu is just the better version of Aphra right now. Let's be honest.
Greedo.
Well, hey, we have not talked about her in trilogies. What do you think about her in trilogies? She's a 14 cost. You said they weren't very good.
So, there aren't very many good 14 cost characters. But there is Phasma, and Phasma's better than her in every deck. So just play Phasma.
That's fair. I have her as a 2-star in trilogies simply for the yellow access right now. That's literally the only reason. But there's definitely plenty of other things for that. However, I will say one thing with Aphra is that I do think by the end of this set of sets, when we have 6 sets of Star Wars Destiny released, I think this girl might actually be pretty effective, because that isn't a once per turn ability to draw a card. There's already like 4 ways to deal indirect damage to yourself, and some of them aren't bad. The BT1 isn't terrible if we combos well with her, obviously, but then you also have, you know, what's that card? Remove 2 damage, then deal 2 indirect to yourself, and all that sort of stuff. And one thing that a lot of people mess up with Dr. Aphra is you do not need to put the indirect damage onto Aphra.
Sure, but they play like in a 4-wide style that actually have a ton of hit points to put indirect damage on your characters on. And then you're like delving into play big monsters.
Nah, not delve, but you've already got 2. I want to say it's 2. I don't remember what the other one is right now, but I want to say there are 2 good ways of doing indirect damage to yourself through events right now, and I think that will only increase over time. And if that happens, you can start cycling through your deck very fast, and there might be a very quick kill sort of situation in the similar vein to say a Boundless Ambition, or there might be a way like with Boundless Ambition even to just have just cycle, and you're dead.
Yeah, admittedly, Boundless Ambition is the least balanced card ever printed.
Exactly.
So that was fun.
But now we can talk about Greedo. Now you can fanboy over Greedo as much as you want now.
Greedo. That was good because you played him with an Elite Sienna and a Mother Talzin. That deck is in fact very good, but unfortunately that deck is worse than Balatique.
Yep.
He is worse than Balatique in every way.
And that is depressing.
And in trilogies, he's a 3-star card because he can make do in a 4-wide deck.
Mm-hmm. But in standard?
1 star.
1 star. I mean, that feels harsh, but it's sad but true. I mean, Greedo his die are good. Those are legitimately good die for his cost. That's the sad thing. And his ability, he's just a better Stormtrooper at 7. But people don't play Stormtrooper anymore. And when they do play Stormtrooper, it's specifically for red access.
Stormtrooper is a very good card. Stormtrooper is slightly better than Greedo.
Mm-hmm.
And, much more importantly, 2-die Greedo is much worse than Balatique. And 1-die Greedo, 2-die Sienna is much worse than 1-die Trooper, 2-die Bala.
Greedo Bala might have a thing going at some point if Spot Yellow becomes an actual important requirement for villains. I don't know. Maybe villains get their own second chance. One can dream, right? Well, it'd be a nightmare, I think.
Wait, you're telling me you want my Mother Talzin deck to be even more broken? Sith Holocron, okay? Second chance in villain would be stupid because you have Sith Holocron. So you like Holocron and then you overwrite your Holocron with a second chance?
Oh god, that's so horrifying. I don't want. No, that is a nightmare. I do not want to think about that. I actually had Greedo as a 2-star in standard, simply to acknowledge the fact that he is still a good card. It's just everything else is better than him. But
unfortunately, he's just not good enough.
Here's the thing as well, though. He's a legendary, and that's also very sad because all of these other cards that are better than him are not legendaries. Because I was gonna say, he might be a good budget replacement, and I'm like, oh wait, he's a legendary. I didn't even notice that. Why is this guy a legendary?
Because they had to get another legendary.
Give it to Dr. Aphra. No one cares about her.
Fair.
Speaking of not caring about a character, what about the rebel trader?
He's a traitor to the concept of being a good character. Star necessity. 1 star.
1 star. 1 star. 1 star. 1 star. 1 star. Yes. What was the plan with this guy?
They ran out of development time and decided to make a character that was too weak, so they could move on with set design and print it and make it to the printer.
That is a harsh, harsh criticism. We've seen this. I would rather say that FFG might be experimenting. We've seen both this and Lore as cards that can force your opponent to activate. Maybe there's someone running a deck somewhere in the FFG playtesting circles, and they're just like, I want to be able to remove this guy's dice, but he never activates the character. I don't know what the... I don't understand. I guess, because the thing is, in theory, if you could find, if this guy had like ambush, if it was like activate, if you activate this character, you force an opponent to activate one of their characters, also take an additional action, this might be effective as just locking someone down for a bit. That would actually, I think, fit the theme and would make him an interesting character. But we don't have that. You don't gain tempo using his ability. I don't see a point for it.
I don't know either. All right. What's next?
All right, and that brings us to the end. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Golden Captain, what are we seeing next?
We're doing Hundo, Plots, and Battlefields.
Which hopefully will be a much shorter video. Well, hopefully for us, maybe not for you guys, a much shorter video, as there's only like 5 cards to cover, is that?
There's quite a few plots.
Yeah, there's like 5 of them, right?
And there's quite a few battlefields.
Oh yeah, there's battlefields to cover. I'm going to be honest, I haven't really looked at the battlefields. None of them have really inspired me. So I should probably do that before we actually start looking at them. That would make a lot of sense. Yes. But we should hopefully be getting that up still within the next month. I would like to finish this project before Legacies becomes irrelevant as the next set opens up.
I'd like to finish this project before Legacies officially releases.
Good luck with that. I'll tell you that for a start. Go and break a leg, as they would say. Ha 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 ha. No response? That was an incredible joke. Come on.
I thought we were done recording.
Nope. This is still live. We're doing this. This is part of it. I'm not taking this part out.
Oh.
Alright, this has been me, GameSlayer99, aka No Brainer.
This has been me,
I didn't even get to hear you because it was lagging out. That's perfect. Signing off.